Could good old Creepy Joe survive against these Dexter villains? Well, that's the question that I'm gonna answer in today's video. And to be able to do that, I'm gonna use a tier list. So here's the tier list. Here in the top we have another chance, which means that Joe Goldberg won't have a chance. Here we have with plot armor, and that means that if this happens in his own series, in his own TV show, which is You, then you know he has plot armor, so then he would be able to do it. 50-50, self-explanatory. Very possible also, you know, you could figure that one out. And here it's a glass box time, which means it would be easy peasy. And he would just put them in his glass box and do what he wants to do with them. Yeah, so let's get it on. So we're starting off strong here with the Trinity Killer, and I'm gonna say something that I think can be a little bit controversial, and that is that Trinity goes in glass box time. I mean, I think it would be fairly easy for Joe Goldberg from You, and that's because, you know, Trinity is an old man. He's not in his A game anymore. He's past his prime. And plus he only goes after people that really don't put up a fight against him. And I mean, Joe Goldberg definitely would do that, so I don't think that would be a match. That would be easy peasy. Next up here on the list we have Isaak Sirko, and you know, he have the contacts. He knows how to handle a gun. He's basically the Terminator, especially in that one scene in the bar. So I mean, you know, Joe Goldberg wouldn't have a chance against this guy. I mean, this shouldn't. I mean, I shouldn't even have to, you know, defend my opinion on this one because it's just so self-explanatory. Next up we have Miguel Prado, and this one is a little bit tricky because Miguel, he isn't really a very skilled, you know, killer.
What the fuck you?
And I mean, Joe Goldberg isn't really a skilled killer either, but he's certainly more skilled than Miguel. And now when Joe is, you know, like a billionaire, I don't think he would have any trouble taking out. Yeah, I'd say 50-50, okay? Just because Miguel Prado, you know, he has his position and he's famous and he have contacts and that stuff, so that is what brings him to 50-50. If it wasn't for all that, if it was just a one-to-one fight, then, you know, Joe would take it fairly easy. Next up on the list we have the Phantom, and this guy was just a menace. He just lit people on fire left to right. He did it in an elevator and a bus, but since, you know, Joe Goldberg is now a billionaire, I don't think he would ride a bus, okay? For that reason, this guy would have a hard time targeting Joe, because he's not a regular he's not a regular guy anymore, okay? He's rich. For that reason, I think this would be very possible. I mean, this guy without the suit is pretty much nothing. So yeah, Joe would just have to stalk him a bit and wait till he gets home and takes off the, you know, suit and the flammable things, and then he would just then he could just do his deed, you know, do his deed. It sounds like he's going to poop on him or something. No, I mean he's going to do the stuff he, you know, does with people. Next up here we have Lila West, and this is, you know, the typical Joe Goldberg victim, you could say. So for that reason, I mean, it's glass box time. It would be easier than... No, I don't think it would be easier than Trinity, actually. Because she's a little bit psycho. A little bit. She's very psycho. She's like a... she's like a love from You. Somewhat, not really, but yeah, they both are killers. So yeah, glass box time either way. So next up here we have Travis Marshall, and this guy is very handy. He, you know, very skilled in his craft. I mean, even Dexter had trouble, you know, hunting him, not really hunting him down, but he was a little bit thrown off with the whole schizophrenia thing in the beginning. So if he could fool Dexter, you know, then he could definitely fool Joe. However, Joe is also a little bit schizo, so maybe, you know, schizo recognize schizo, you know. And for that reason, I would say 50-50. I mean, Joe Goldberg, he has the resources now to pretty much do anything. My light just died. This is not so funny. Let me just turn this on again. So Joe got all the resources that he need to cover it up or just make it happen. So I think it would be 50-50 against Travis. Next up here we have the Skinner. I'm gonna put him here in very possible because I think he would be easier than the Phantom to catch and kill. Plus he's just a guy that likes to take people's skins basically, so I mean, come on guys, come on. Now here we have Brian Moser. I mean, not a chance, okay? I think Isaak Sirko and Brian is pretty much on the same level in not a chance. I mean, this guy, if he didn't want to connect with his brother, then he would never have gotten caught in the Dexter show. It was only because he wanted to reconnect with his brother. So yeah, you know, Joe Goldberg wouldn't see him. Joe Goldberg wouldn't see him coming. Yeah, it would be easy game for Brian Moser. Next up on the list here we have Kurt Caldwell from Dexter New Blood. I mean, his victims and Joe's victims are a bit similar because, you know, they mostly target girls. Yeah, I mean, both are pretty rich. I think Kurt was rich, kind of, but he was very famous in the town, so it would be hard to take him out. So, you know, both are rich. Okay, I mean, Joe is probably a lot more richer because he's a billionaire now, but let's just take that aside for a second. Then I think Joe could take Kurt. I don't think Kurt is that big of a threat, really. The only reason why he was such a big threat to Dexter was because Kurt, you know, threatened Dexter's son. Like, it was kind of like a hostage situation, you could say. And Joe have a son, I just remember now, but I mean, he's a little, you know, baby son that he doesn't have a, you know, connection to because he gave it away. He gave the baby away. Man, I can't talk today. So yeah, Kurt, he goes in very possible. Very possible. I think that's fair. So next up here on the list is a little Chino, and this guy is everything but little. He's very big, in fact. But you know, muscles don't beat brains. Yeah. This is, I mean, Dexter wasn't on top of his game when he, you know, stalked and you know, tried to and killed him. But I mean, if Joe is in his prime with all that money, all those connections, all that stuff, then I think this guy would be, you know, fairly easy. Let's put him here. Nah, let's put him here actually, like in the lowest of the lowest. I think he would just have to stalk him and just sneak up on him, and it wouldn't be such a big problem for Joe Goldberg. I realized I don't have a single one in plot armor. I can't have that happening. I have to fill this out. So we are definitely not gonna move anybody down. You know, it's between these two guys. And for me, the hardest of these guys would be Travis, I think. Yeah. So let me know, do you think this list is complete garbage, or do you somewhat agree with me? Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear, you know, how you rank these guys, because yeah, I think it could be many different versions of, what am I saying? I don't even know. Let me just end this video. Yeah, check out my other tier list if you enjoyed this one. Have a great day and goodbye. Goodbye, you.